Well. Eva, you might not be so displacent, my friend, but I still look at you as an enemy. Welcome in, everybody, and glad to have all you here. It's time for Beyond the Gates, episode 8 after show. Let's get to the getting and doing what we do. I have to tell you that this episode felt a bit softer in the energy of the episode. You know, of course, it didn't have the intensity of the wedding, but you still felt an energy there. We didn't get to see Andre and Danny, which I thought that they were going to pick up from that point, but we get to this point. So here we go. Eva is on her temporary job for the first day, and Eva has confirmed the appointments, sort out the emails, and restock the office supplies. And we learned that Nicole's coffee order is sugar free latte with oat milk, light foam, and two pumps of caramel or caramel. Mona gave Eva the rundown. Nicole is heading to the country club to have breakfast with her family. And Nicole texted Eva that it was going to be a late start to the day, but but Eva wanted to make a good first impression. And there's an elephant in the room. Now you would probably thought, oh my God, does she really know me? All that stuff. It's like, child, you're carrying your mama's burdens a little too heavy, but that's neither here nor there. But to talk about the wedding, this, that, and the third, the wedding is still trending on social media. So then we are at Orphe Jones, which, by the way, fun fact, is named after Miss Ma Val Jean's mother, who is in heaven. So I thought that was a very nice tribute. I learned that during the Beyond the Gates Entertainment Tonight special, which you can see on CBS.com. Go Beyond the Gates, you'll be able to see the whole 5-part special. So awesome stuff there. So Laura's surgery is confirmed for tomorrow. And Nora has been thinking about, who could have done it. And, Nicole has been treating Laura like family as she deserves, and that Jacob is looking at the footage, right? So then we're back at the office with Nicole and Eva talking about #ShotPow wedding. And Dr. Nicole is saying Danny's more in the life that she should have had. And Eva says, believe me, I know that more than you know. I'm just like, oh my Lord Jesus. Okay, listen. Eva, I feel your mom's pain, right? It is very difficult, frustrating, and mentally taxing to be the child that feels like a burden and that you're not embraced. And that is disgusting, that's sickening, and that's despiteful behavior. However, I don't think Leslie is telling the whole truth about her and your dad, Ted. She's very conniving. She is arrogant, and she's a how can I put this delicately? She is a cannon waiting to go off. All you gotta do is light the match. So that's just how I feel about it with Leslie. So then we see that Vanessa has her workout series with Diego. Vanessa's husband Doug comes to the country club to have breakfast with Vanessa. Then we're back at Orphe Jones. Nora says that Eva can only not do the job but thrive at it. And Eva took so many notes in her spiral notebook that she thought it was going to have smoke coming out of it. And Leslie said, "Well, I did teach her that you can only make a good first impression one time." I'm paraphrasing. And Ashley's mom said that, you know what, she is going to be just fine with that drive. And Nora said, whatever path she chooses, sky's the limit. Um, like I said before, I think that Leslie and Eva, um, they don't know what they're doing. I think it's going to backfire on them in a way where they are going to get themselves hemmed up, and it's not going to be good for either of them. And Leslie deserves all the hell that's to come, because I remember Veronica from the having the have nots, and nobody liked her. I mean, no damn body. Okay? No damn body. So, with that being said, um, Eva was being nosy, right? So, after Nicole left, Eva was being nosy and trying to go through drawers and this, that, go through the filing cabinet. And so she went through, she went through the 2024, 2023, 2022, and 2022 was locked. So she snooped into Nicole's desk to, to get a key, and Kat um, met Eva. And Lord Jesus, that was a very tense meeting. That was a very tense moment, to use Luigi's words. So Kat was, basically catching on to the fact that, Eva is very sneaky and something's not all right about her, and that, she got hired based on her connections and it was based on her professional style. And Eva lied about getting a stapler, is still learning about the office. And then, Eva said, aren't you supposed to be going to see your mom and the family for breakfast? And Kat said, you handle my mom's schedule, not mine. And Kat said that this could be a very short term assignment. Ooh, Kat. Lord Jesus, you are the opposite of your mother. You gave very articulate shade. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done. Because yeah, Eva is toxic, or is she? We'll get to that. Mhm. I think that Eva has been mentally poisoned by Leslie. We'll get to that. Mhm. So, with that being said, um, so Vanessa and her husband are having breakfast, and her husband Doug says that it's hard to turn people away when they're going through it. And Vanessa says your patients should be so lucky to have you. And so am I, right? He is a doctor, and so he is always away. And you know, what they say about spouses, they're always away. When the cat's away, the mice will play. And Vanessa has played with somebody through a role playing fantasy, and was having a workout series with Diego. Hmm. Yes, indeed. So then Mara and Smitty played basketball. They coming down from the elevator, and a journalist called Marin, wanting a statement on the wedding, and Mara handled it professionally, of course. And Mara said, "This is the United States of amnesia, and that the United States will forget this." I'm like, brother, I wish that was true for some things. I do, but it is what it is. Eva is on the phone taking a message for someone and making sure their name is spelled correctly. And then Ted walks in, and Eva stops at her tracks, and you know um, Ted shakes Eva's hand, and then Diego interrupts Vanessa and Doug's breakfast to ask about a property, right? That you know Diego's cousin is wondering about, and it's on Consolation Avenue. Very nice view of Washington D.C. Everything else is Coleman State, and it's available. And the cousins move in with deep pockets, right? So Vanessa says that I can make that happen, and we can do a virtual tour, um, virtual tour on virtual tour. I know. So Diego is going to go see the home, and because he wants to see the home, so that way, because could get footage, all that type of stuff. And then we figure out that Doug has a gambling problem because Doug was looking at his phone and it looked like horse racing. Mhm. Yeah. So Leslie, Leslie is watching the video of Danny going off this and the third. Leslie and Ashley mom are in agreement with Danny. Nora says that Nicole is her girl, and just imagine if your mess was broadcasted to the world for people to kiki about it. Um, but Nora is not on the side, or it seems like she's not on the side of Danny. Now, of course, Nora has not ever been married, so obviously she doesn't understand the pain of that. But I do wonder if Nora can she have the emotionality to be able to understand others, right? Of course, she understands Laura because that's her girl, but maybe maybe Nora and Danny haven't really interacted that much for Nora to have an opinion, even though it seems like she has worked with Nicole for years. So I'm sure that Danny and Nora have probably had a couple of interactions before. So Leslie and oh yeah, all that and Kat and Nicole are at the country club, and Kat is saying I could get 100 resumes better than Eva, and her IG shows that she's not even good at hair. And Nicole is saying 10 toes down the fact that you know what, listen, this is my decision, and I actually did my background work. And I'm just like, Kat, you probably should have. And Kat did tell her that she was snooping around the office. What you should have said was like, Mom, Eva was snooping through your desk and trying to get a key. I don't know what she was trying to unlock, but I don't like her. You should have led with that because at that point, Nicole would had no other choice but to listen to you because she is a psychiatrist. She's a therapist. So that is confidentiality privilege being broken. So Eva could have went in and found anybody's information and could have utilized that in any capacity that she wanted to. And that would be breaking HIPAA law, which means your mom's practice would have been shut down. So you should have gave more of an urgency. But you did at least let her know that you do not feel her energy. And from her IG, it shows that she's not good at hair. So Ted is being kind to Eva, but then Jacob comes in to talk, and Jacob says that the motorcycle is a popular model, and it seems like they had a dead end. Um, then we're back with Doug and Vanessa. Deanna is their daughter, and she was looking Miss Collegiate on the quad. And so, um, all that is happening. And then um, Danny, almost forgot. I think this way. Let me make sure I'm not here. Yeah, okay. I think we're good. So then by this point in time, um, you know, Danny sounded okay for Danny, and that Pamela's going to take Danny for a spa day. And basically, Smitty said the better the poll numbers are for Mar depends on if Danny does less. And the clip has made the Shade Room Breakfast Club at TMZ and is trending with no time slowing down. So it's Ted, Nicole, Mar, and Kat and Smitty at breakfast. Eva is back at home and talks about how she met Ted. And Eva said that Ted shook Ted's hand, and that he thinks he's God's gift to women. Now, of course, Leslie said, soon enough, our day is coming around the corner. Now, here's the thing. You know how they say the sins of the mother or father can lay upon the children? I think that this is the situation here because there has to be something in the history between Leslie and Ted that we do not know about. Because how can your daughter be this intense for a father that she never knew, right? Now I do understand, if mom leaves or dad leaves, I can create resentment, right? But to the point where you are trying to figure out any way to get in the door to blow up their life when, did y'all have conversations in the past to try to figure this thing out? What would the child support cases like what was the communication between you and Ted before you got to this state of mind where you are trying to get your daughter in their orbit to blow up their orbit? You know what I mean? Because it's just something, the Kool-Aid ain't sweet about this story. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Y'all can let me know in the comment section below. But I just feel like there's something in the Kool-Aid that is not sweet about Leslie and her time with Ted. I don't get it. Because when we were at um, the home of, or we were at the practice rather of Dr. Nicole, Ted seemed very kind, very generous, all that stuff. Of course, we all know that, there's more than meets the eye, but still, like, Eva did not really seem shaken at all um, by Ted. It seemed like she was trying to embrace that warmth. You know what I mean? It seems like Leslie has been this raging. Now, this is the name of a beer, okay? So it comes from what's let me see, because I want to make sure that I get this name right, okay? Um, on, hang on. So this beer comes from Fly Dog. It's called Raging Bitch IPA. Okay, so listen. Um, and the beer profile is smooth, well carbonated, crisp and fruity, stringent, lingering aftertaste. There's nothing smooth or well carbonated, crisp and fruity, or stringent, lingering aftertaste about Leslie. Okay, there is no flavor to Leslie. She is a raging bitch. Okay, that is the beer from Fly Dog Brewery. Okay, it just seems to me that Eva really doesn't have a mean bone in her body. But of course, you're going to be protective of your mother. So whatever your mother has gone through, you're going to consume the emotions of your mother to protect your mom and be on your mom's side. But it's just, I don't like it when parents try to utilize the children, right? Um, to make even the pain that they went through. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's cool. I don't think that's disrespectful, because what ends up happening is you use your children as a pawn, and because they're so used as a pawn, they don't know their own identity, and that is a real thing. So I just thought that was not cool. So then we are Ofrey Jones with Jacob and his dad. His dad's the chief of police, and his dad said, you know, it was going to be a ball and chain being chief of police or retire, be one to your mother. Jacob feels bad for not doing his job of not arresting Danny. Then we go to this place. Um, it looks like a lodge, and Jake and Doug is a gambler, which we find out. Um, Vanessa wishes that she knew about Danny's spa day. And Kat says, maybe I can come over with you to, learn about, to tell you about the laser equipment. Dad is fine with that. And he was like, and Kat's like, well, at least Dad trusts me on that. And, you know, Nicole's like, listen, you are very good at what you do when it comes to, information about technology and this and the third, but interpersonal relationships are a different thing. And I will say this, parents can be students too sometimes. If your child is telling you something, I'm not saying you have to, go gun ho and, agree with them fully, but at least hear them out, right? The best way to do this would have been, did you go snooping through my office today? And honestly, I'm surprised that there are no cameras in, Dr. Nicole's office. Now, of course, I know there's confidentiality, HIPAA, rules and stuff like that. But there should be cameras in the office because um, you want to protect yourself in all your sessions. You know what I mean? So After all that, Eva talks about Kat. Um, so now we're back at the house with Leslie and Les with Leslie and Eva. Eva talks about Kat and that there's arrogance there, and then Leslie has some kindness to her and says her brother is not as bad. Jacob is investigating the car crash, right? So then we go back to Opry Jones, and Jacob's dad thinks Jacob is being too hard on himself, and his dad said there's more than one. There's more than one dude, and I appreciated Jacob's dad giving this perspective to Jacob because at that point I do feel you, right, Jacob, because you're trying your best to protect everybody. That's your job. However, you are in a situation where you are married, okay, to the daughter of the person, right? So it's a bit different. So you not arresting Danny, you know, it was a favor to protect Naomi's mom. And that is a duty because, like your dad so articulately stated, you are a husband now and you have that duty to your family. So, you did the right thing. And, you know, um, then we go back to the lodge. There's a black woman being a rep for the lodge and saying that, you got to pay your tab, but maybe I could get you a room. And then we're back with Nicole and Smitty at the country club. Smitty feels lost because, Samantha and Terrell are teenagers, so they're not empty nesters, Mara and Smitty, but they're on their way. And so Smitty runs is on three parent committees, and Nicole says, what are you doing for you? And Nicole says, you have an activist spirit. Why don't you join your husband? And then Smitty's like, so you mean my husband to be my boss? And Nicole's like, you know what? That is got a little 20 on 10 energy. So then Smitty wants to get back into journalism. Now, he put out some feelers. Here's the thing. You should never erase yourself in your marriage or relationship because if you erase yourself, then were you a person ever in the first place, right? I just don't know about this journalist getting back into journalism because with everything going on right now, I don't know how Smitty is as a journalist, right? We don't know his journalistic history. We haven't heard them talk about any awards that Smitty's won, this, that, and the third. But there could be a situation down the line where Smitty is a journalist and he does not give discretion of the fact that he's in the family. I just feel like if Smitty goes into journalism, it could be bad for the Duprees. That's just my thoughts on it. So then Mara is listening the whole time. And, we're back with Leslie and Eva. Mona believes that this was intentional. And Leslie believed that the motorcycle driver was maybe drunk or trying to show off. Now, why would a motorcyclist or a motorcycle driver be driving drunk on a motorcycle when they could damage their body? And showing off that would be like popping a wheelie. You did not pop a wheelie. You were driving full throttle on that. So that's bullshit, Leslie. And you're not showing any remorse for that. And Eva says that Jacob has nothing going, is chasing a ghost. Eva is feeling guilt from benefiting from it. And Leslie says people are blessed with good fortune every day. And it's like, Leslie, you know what you did, and you can't be honest with your daughter because you know that right is right, wrong is wrong. You know that there has to be a line. And this is where I say, right, that Eva may not be as bad as we think. And I think that Leslie mentally poisoned Eva. Because Eva says, I'm just thinking when you rented bikes before, when you had the urge to ride. Tell me you had nothing to do with that crash. And y'all, Leslie went the uck off. Do not worry, we're going to get to it. We're almost at the end of the episode. So then we are back at the lounge. Doug calls Randy to help. Randy seems like a childhood friend. And there's this guy named Joey. He's not a sympathetic guy. So Doug wants Randy to help pay off the tab. And Randy says, or asks, how much money are you in? How much debt are you in? Shows the tab. And then Randy says, what do you think I am, a fairy godmother? I'm like, oh, damn. He's got to be in six figures. So, um, Randy says, go tell Vanessa, for richer for poorer. And, Randy will have to keep both of his kneecaps. So obviously, Joey has that energy of like, respect me, I respect you. Disrespect me, I disrespect you. So then, Diego and Vanessa are getting ready to go see the house. I say the house in quotation marks because wait for it, right? So Diego says, "Let's get the party started." And Vanessa says, "What are you doing?" And then Diego says, "I'm giving you what you want." And Vanessa said, "It took you long enough." And then there is some moaning in a room. I will say this though. Vanessa likes to get down. So I think Diego is Latino, so she likes chocolate. She likes white chocolate. Um, no, I'm sorry, she does like white chocolate because the brother at Uptown was not mixed. So she likes vanilla. She likes chocolate. She likes spicy mango ice cream. She likes every flavor of ice cream. Okay, so at least Vanessa's consistent on that. Smitty is going to go to a committee meeting for the annual teachers appreciation gala. Nicole needs to get back to the office herself, and then Martin is asking his mom what to do next. And so Nicole's like, well, you usually talk to your granddad about something like this. And Martin said, well, I think you should be the first one to know. And Martin says, I haven't thought about a recommitment to Congress or, election for Congress. I thought about running again or re-election. That's what I'm trying to say, re-election. But then Martin announces that he wants to, run for president, which Martin, I'm going to tell you right now, bro. This is probably not the best time because, for one, your crazy aunt who pulled out a POW at a wedding and it got live streamed to the world with over 100,000 people. And not to mention, too, Bill Hamilton, Haley trying to get back at Danny. Like, it's not a good time because all it's going to do is bring more scrutiny. But also, too, you would be the first, gay man as a president in the White House and fair in this storyline of Beyond the Gates, right? So big deal, big deal, big deal. It is a big deal. So then y'all remember when I told you that Eva said what she said about you rented bikes. This is Eva telling Leslie, her mom, that I remember you rented bikes before when you wanted to ride. Tell me that you had nothing to do with that crash. And Leslie, she gets pissed the fuck off. She's like, I put in my notes, Leslie got upset that Eva caught her. And she's like, what would make you think such a thing after all we've been through? And I was like, sweetie, if what Eva said was not true, why are you getting so upset? But since you get upset, it must be true to some degree. But the gag is, it's true to the whole degree that you did what you did. And you wanted Eva to get a job at the club, the clinic, or the hospital with Asher once we got to know her better. Was there not a hair salon in Fairmount Crest that had an opening? Really, this could have been the easiest thing. But you had to go and get somebody in the hospital because of your hate for a man that have you ever communicated with him about Eva? Does he even know Eva exists? Because, there are some women that, they have children and they cut off communication, and maybe Ted doesn't even know. Right? You say that Ted walked down in y'all lives and Ted said he wanted nothing to do with you. But could that be your perception and maybe from your point of view with your memory? Because it seems like you're poisoning Eva for you to get your revenge. That's just like, the show Dance Moms, right? The dance moms, push their kids to the brink because of, the moms not ever being recognized in their childhood, right? So that's just what I feel. Um, and then Eva says, "Did you hire a hitman just to get me closer to the Prees?" And she's like, "Of course not." Goes off and all that. And then Leslie says, "You don't have to go through it." And you keep doing that as a false sense of security. And Eva says, "I'm going to stand 10 toes down in it, this, that, and the third." But here's the thing. If she doesn't do it, how you going to get your revenge? So it's almost like Eva has no choice in the matter. And Leslie said, get them, make them trust you, lower your guard. And then Eva says, "I'm going to go after my name and birthright." Y'all, that is your Beyond the Gates episode 8 after show. I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, Lord. Smitty seemed, not Smitty, but Joey seems like he is going to be a very interesting character at this lodge. And I'm sure that one of Vanessa's real estate friends probably goes to this lodge and probably knows Doug, or may not know of Doug, but will see Doug and be like, ish. Um, Smitty getting back into journalism. I don't think that's a good move. And then, Eva, you have a conscience. That's a good thing. Do not let your mom dictate your movement, because maybe Nicole did not know what was going on. Because it could have been possible, right, that Ted pulled a Denzel Washington from Fences, that he had a whole nother family and did not want Nicole to know. So maybe there was some cheating going on, right? We don't know. Martin for president, I don't think that's the right move. And then Kat, I feel you. You are on the right track. And Leslie's a bitch. I'ma just say it. To utilize your daughter for you to get revenge, that's just disgusting, tired, broken behavior. So with that being said, I think that's everything. We didn't see Danny this episode. We didn't see Ashley, Derek. We didn't see Naomi this episode, but I am sure we will see them again. We didn't see Chelsea either. Um, but more to come. More to come tomorrow. So one love, much love, all love. Bye, everybody.